Hi, Founder fans. Jason here, and today's founder is Mary Emmons, the Indian mistress of Aaron Burr. And when I say Indian, I don't mean Native American. I mean born in Calcutta, India. Now, we don't know a whole lot about Mary Emmons' early life. We know she seems to have been born in India, somehow traveled to the West Indies. I would only be able to speculate on how she afforded that trip. She does appear to have changed her original name to a different name, Eugenie Beauharnais. I think I'm pronouncing that right, which was a common last name in the Caribbean at that point. And then by the early 1780s, she makes her way up to New York, where she serves in the household of a man named Jacques Marcus Provost. He was an Englishman, a British officer, though the Jacques makes me think it's French. Now, this Mr. Officer Provost was married to a woman named Theodosia Provost, and Mary Emmons lived in Theodosia and Jacques' household until he passed away. Now, it turns out Theodosia was already having an affair with a patriot, a gentleman named Aaron Burr, and Theodosia ends up marrying Burr, and Mary Emmons, her household employee, ends up coming over and working in the Burr household. Now, over the years, her and Burr became friendly, and they end up having a child in 1788, the same year Burr has a child with his wife, Theodosia. There are two Burr babies born that year. Now, when Burr goes down to Philadelphia, he brings Mary with him, and she lives in Philadelphia, while Theodosia, his wife, stays back home in New York. Unfortunately, Theodosia dies from stomach cancer over the years, and there's not a whole lot of evidence whether or not Theodosia knew about this second family of Burr. But either way, he has another child in 1792 while he is serving in the United States Senate in Philadelphia with Mary Emmons. Now, these children are half white and half Asian, which there were not a whole lot of Asian people living in the United States, making Mary Emmons one of the Asian founders of the United States in a fashion. Now, unfortunately, she played a very low level as, the rank of society that she had at the time. She was essentially a laborer, which we don't often consider American founders, though here at Founder of the Day we most certainly do. I do want to acknowledge, though, Aaron Burr never actually acknowledged these children as legitimate, which is fascinating because he had other children throughout his life that were illegitimate that he did acknowledge. Aaron Burr had a whole lot of children with a whole lot of people through his life, not often discussed when we talk about Aaron Burr, especially in the new play that makes him seem very dedicated to Theodosia, which he most certainly was not. That being said, Aaron Burr, they have these two children, and one of their babies' names are, was right in front of me. They were Louisa Charlotte Burr and John Pierre Burr. Now, both of these children, although not acknowledged, John Pierre does get a little bit of land from his father at one point, and Louisa Charlotte, one of the things proving that she is related to Aaron Burr, other than DNA tests, is that she had written a letter to Burr at one point asking about her siblings, essentially, Theodosia, which is the name of a daughter, as well as the mother. Now, that is really all the acknowledgement these children get from Burr, but they go on to have extraordinarily interesting lives. They both marry into Philadelphia's free black community. I'll remind you, by the time they're even born, Pennsylvania has already eliminated slavery. And there is a whole community of free black people living in Philadelphia. And Burr's children go on to live amongst this community. They both marry into it, and John Pierre Burr opens a barbershop, though his barbershop seems to specifically tailor to white people. And I should note that at least John Pierre had very light, fair skin, which helped when he became a very important station on the Underground Railroad. He becomes an early abolitionist in a lot of fashions. His house becomes a place on the Underground Railroad, and he would actually walk slaves to freedom. They'd come to Philadelphia, but they still had to keep going, and he would help walk them to freedom. And when questioned by people, he would say, well, no, this is my servant, and I am taking him on a walk. And he would take that servant on a walk to freedom. So this is a very, and then Mary Emmons, her actual life trails off kind of quickly. There's not a whole lot of record after Aaron Burr leaves Philadelphia. That is the story of Mary Emmons, a mistress of Aaron Burr of Indian descent, one of the few Asian American founders, really, whose children went on to play a huge role in freedom and abolition in Philadelphia and the United States. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit like so more people can learn about the channel. And if you're new here, subscribe because I put out videos 7 days a week. I'll be back with another founder for you tomorrow.